Hi there everybody, my name is Ali and today we are doing Skynet from TryHackMe. This was a Linux machine and in the initial foothold part we will do a lot of enumeration. First of all we will see a Squirrelmail CMS by directory brute forcing. Then from the SMB shares we will be having a username and password list. So we will use Hydra to do a brute force attack on Squirrelmail. And then we will log into Squirrelmail as MilesDyson user. After that, we will see the password for SMB Share for MilesDyson user, and we will see another strange directory in MilesDyson Share, which will lead us to CUPA CMS. And then we will exploit CUPA CMS with remote file inclusion to gain initial foothold. And then in the privilege escalation part, we will be having a crontab which will be running a bash script as root, and that bash script will be using tar to compress files in the web server directory. So we will exploit the tar to gain root access. So that being said, let's jump in. I already have started my machine and my IP address is 10.10.10.217. So I will start off with the nmap scan, nmap-a for aggressive scan, -v for verbosity, and then the IP address of the target, which is 10.10.10.217. Now this can take some time to run, so I already have ran it. Let's see the results. Looking at the results, we see we are having a lot of ports open, starting from port 22, which is SSH. The version is OpenSSH 7.2p2, and we are also having the operating system, which is Ubuntu. Then we are having port 80 and the service running is HTTP, and web server is Apache HTTPD 2.4.18. HTTP methods are get, head, post options. All of them are not interesting. If there would have been like put or delete or move, so we can put files onto the web server and try to gain initial foothold, but right now those methods are not available. Then we are having HTTP server header Apache 2.4.18, that's fine. HTTP title is Skynet, so that's fine as well. Then we are having one more strange port open, which is 110. It is POP3. Now this is most probably post office protocol that extracts and retrieves email from a remote mail server. Now in very simple words, what we do is we supply this port like username and password, and it allows us to read our email messages. But right now I am not having any sort of username and password, so I cannot read any email right now. Now this port is related to email, so that's why I cannot read any email without any username or password. Then we are having 139 and 445, both of them are SMB ports, so we will use smbmap or smbclient to enumerate these ports. We are also having SMB 3.x or 4.x, and then we are having SMB version 4.3.11, and again operating system is also being leaked here and it is Ubuntu. Then we are having one last port, which is 143, which is very similar to port 110, which is IMAP. Now this is Internet Message Access Protocol, and it also allows you to access your email messages wherever you are. So almost both of them, 110 and 143, are very similar, but right now we cannot do anything to these ports. So again, our main attack vectors are port 80 and SMB. So let's start off with port 80. So I will go to my browser, open a new tab and type in the IP address, which is 10.10.10.217, and let's see what's running on port 80. And it looks like that there is a search functionality just similar to Google. So if I do like search, let's do test123, hit enter, and we can see in the URL it is directing me to a pound sign, which means that it is doing nothing. So let's view the page source. Looking at the page source, we see we are having one image. Then we can see that the form is having a name of Skynet and the action is a pound sign, which means that it will not do anything. And method is post, but that's not interesting because this form is doing nothing. So let's close this one, and again I am having nothing onto this web server. So let's go and do a directory brute force, because whenever I cannot do anything onto this web server or anything strange like JavaScript files or any other strange things, I always go for directory brute forcing. So now what I will do is I will go to my terminal and start Gobuster, and also I can use FFUF as well. So let's see what we can use. So let's start off with Gobuster and I will show you how to use FFUF as well. So I will use Gobuster dir for directory brute forcing mode, -u for URL, and the URL will be again the web server, which is 10.10.10.217, and then I will specify the word list, and the word list which I will use is user share word list, and it is in Gobuster directory list 2.3 medium.text, and the extensions which I will go for is PHP because Apache web server is running, so always going for PHP is very important. So let's hit enter and let's see what we get. Now we can also use FFUF as well because Gobuster is extremely slow for me. So let me show you how to use FFUF as well. So first of all, FFUF is not already installed in Kali Linux, so you need to install it as apt install and do this one FFUF and it will install FFUF. I already have installed it, so let's use FFUF. So I will do FFUF, and again a very similar syntax to Gobuster, FFUF-u for URL. The URL will be again the same, 10.10.10 to 17. And the very strange thing about fuzz is that we need to specify that for FFUF that where you need to do fuzzing. So we need to specify that you by a keyword called fuzz, and where we will add this keyword fuzz, it will do directory brute forcing at that place. So what I will do is I will specify first right after the URL because I want to list that directories, and then the everything is same. So I will do -w for word list, user share word list, Gobuster directory list 2.3 medium.text, and then for extensions we use -e, and I will go for PHP extensions. Now both of them are very excellent tools. Now for OSCP exams or EJPT or ECPPT, I would highly recommend that you should use both of them, Gobuster, FFUF, and also one of them which is graphical user interface. I think so it is called Gobuster because Gobuster is extremely fast and it also goes recursively as well. So these three are the main tools which you should use in OSCP. There are also other tools like dirsearch, but I would not recommend dirsearch because dirsearch sometimes makes false positives as well, and it also misses a lot of directories and files as well. So that's the reason I use these one. So if I hit enter in FFUF, I think so let's see the speed, and this will be much more faster than Gobuster. Now I will press Ctrl C in Gobuster. By the way, Gobuster found a lot of directories: admin, CSS, JavaScript, and config. So let's see what's running there as well. So admin, let's come to the browser, do admin here, hit enter, and it says forbidden. Now forbidden means this is actually 403. So 403 means that there is that directory exists, so admin directory exists, but I am not allowed to visit this directory. So that's fine. Let's move on to CSS. No, CSS is not interesting, so I will not see this one. JavaScript, again not interesting, so I will not see this one. Config, let's see config because it looks interesting. So config here, and again I am forbidden, so it means that config does exist but I am not allowed to see this directory. That's fine. And then I press Ctrl C in Gobuster. So let's see the FFUF output. I am having AI, so let's see what's running on AI, and it is forbidden as well, so that's fine. So while FFUF is running, let's do like SMB enumeration because I found out that there were 139 and 445. So very first thing which I like to do is SMB map -h for host, then the IP address of the target, which is 10.10.10.217, and simply hit enter. Now normally it will do anonymous logins by default, and it will see whether there are any shares which are present. So let's see whether we find anything interesting. And we do have 4 shares. One of them is print dollar, anonymous, MilesDyson, and IPC dollar. But right now I am having only read only access to anonymous share. And one more interesting thing is that we have a user enumeration as well, and most probably MilesDyson might be the user onto the system, but it is always important to enumerate users as well because in the future when I will find like login pages or any other place where username field is required, I will always enter admin. If admin does not work, I will go for MilesDyson. So this is a very important enumeration here as well. So right now I am having anonymous share which I can read. So what I will do is smbmap, and then I will specify -r, and what -r will do, it will recursively list me everything in anonymous directory or share. So I don't need to navigate into different directories to see what is in the anonymous. So I will do please show me anonymous directory recursively, sorry, anonymous share. And now it will again do anonymous logins, and then it will show me anonymous share recursively. And now we can see we are having anonymous share, and in here we are having two files. One of them is attention.txt and the other one is our directory which is called logs. And then in the logs directory we are having three logs files. One of them is log2, log1 and log3. So what we need to do now is we can download all of these files by doing -a as well, and we can specify any file name, like let's do attention.txt, but right now I will not download attention.txt because smbmap, I don't remember the command which downloads all of the files. So what I will do is use smbclient. So I will do smbclient dash, or not dash l, I will specify 2// then the IP address of the target, just 10.10.10.217. Then I will say that please log me in anonymous share. So anonymous share, and hit enter. It will ask you for the password, just hit enter without entering anything, and I am logged in. If I do ls, I am having the same files which I was having in smbmap tool. So what I will do is I will download all of these things recursively. I will not do everything one by one. So for that, first of all, we need to turn off the prompt. So it will not ask me for that whether I want to download the file, because I need to press Y again and again. So I will say that please turn off the prompt, and then I will say that please turn the recursive mode to on, so that whenever I use mget or get command, you should download everything recursively. So I will do recurse to on, let's hit enter, and now if I do mget and if I do everything, I think so it should work. Let's see. And now it is getting file attention, and now you can see it is getting all of the files which are in logs or whether any directory, and I don't need to do anything. I just entered only one command which is mget all. Now everything is downloaded. If I exit out from here, come back to my terminal, do ls, now you can see everything is downloaded. So let's see what is in attention.txt. So in attention.txt, it says a recent system malfunction has caused various passwords to be changed. All Skynet employees are required to change their password after seeing this, and we are again having username. So now I am confirmed that MilesDyson is a user. So that's username enumeration, but nothing interesting. But let's go into logs. So in logs, we are having three files, log 1, 2 and 3. So let's see what is in log 1. And it looks like that we are having some sort of list. Most probably these might be the usernames or this might be the passwords, I don't know, but that's fine. Let's see what is in log 2. So cat log 2, nothing. Let's see what is in 3, and log 3 file is also empty. So right now, until now, I am only having some hints, and I am having a username which is MilesDyson and a list which is containing some possible words. I don't know whether these might be usernames, whether these might be passwords, I don't know at all. So that's fine. Let's come back to our FFUF again. So if I see FFUF, we found one more strange directory which is Squirrelmail. So let's move to the browser and let's see whether we have access to Squirrelmail or it is forbidden as well. So Squirrelmail, and Squirrelmail, we do have access to Squirrelmail, and it looks like that this is a login page, and we are also having a Squirrelmail version as well, which is 1.4.23. and whenever I see versions, I always do SearchSploit and I will always look for exploits. So what I will do is now is I will do SearchSploit and I will say Squirrelmail, And let's see, we have a bunch of exploits, but let's see what was my version. So my version was 1.4.23. So right now in 1.4 I am having 2 and it is cross-site scripting. Again, nothing interesting because cross-site scripting is a client-side attack, and right now I am having no interaction with my client or any other user, so this one will never work for us right now. Then I am having 1.4.x. Now x means that there can be any number and it is local file inclusion. So this one seems interesting because if there is local file inclusion, I can read potential files onto the system like etc password and try to look other files as well. And again, we are having 1.4.x and we are having cross-site scripting again. So this one looks interesting. Let's see what this exploit is saying. So I will copy the path of this exploit and I will do SearchSploit -x. Now what -x actually does is that it will open the exploit in Vim in front of you. So if I do paste the path, hit enter, and now the exploit is shown to us, and we can see that it says Squirrelmail is prone to local file include vulnerability because it fails to properly sanitize user supplied input. And the URL which he is supplying is that this is the URL of the web server. Then we are having a Squirrelmail directory, which in my case was Squirrelmail, then source redirect.php, and then it is having one parameter called plugins, and this is where it is vulnerable to local file inclusion. So let's come back to our browser. We are having Squirrelmail src, then after that we need to specify redirect.php and this whole payload, and let's see whether we are able to read local files or not. So just like this, if I hit enter, and it says that you must be logged in to access this page, and we are having an error. So let's try to enter any default credentials. Let's see what it gives us. So admin, because I always go for default credentials. After default credentials, I go for SQL injection, and after SQL injection, I go for Hydra brute force on admin user. Now you can see last time I was having an error of you must be logged on, but right now whenever I supplied any wrong credentials, it says unknown user or password. So it might be possible that this exploit might not work. It says we need to be logged in, but right now the strange thing is that it says you can be unauthorized, but right now it is not allowing me access unauthorized. So that's fine. This exploit will not work in this case. So let's come back to the login page and let's try different credentials. Admin like password, and it is giving me error message again, unknown user or password. Let's move on to SQL injection. So I will use a very basic payload, single quotation or 1 = 1 and then a pound sign in both of the fields, because if it is vulnerable to SQL injection, this payload will always give us any error message or something. But right now I am again having unknown user or password. That's fine. Then I also found one username which was MilesDyson. So let's try to go for default credentials like MilesDyson in the username and MilesDyson in the password field as well. And still I am unable to log in. But now the very interesting thing is that we found that list. So what I can do is I can go for Hydra brute force on admin user because I want access of this Squirrelmail as admin. So what I can do is I can use Hydra to brute force the admin username with the word list which was supplied in log.txt file. It might be possible that there might be the correct password in there. If it not, I will go for rocku.txt. So I will turn my burp suite on here, and I will go to my burp suite, turn the intercept on, come back here. I will enter anything random, admin. Now this is the easiest way to use Hydra because Hydra is very difficult to use. So the easiest way is that you should use burp suite to capture the request, and then the response from the request, just send it to Hydra. That makes it very easy. The other thing is you can use developer tools, but it makes it very difficult when you are using developer tools. So if I click login, my request will be captured in my burp suite, and you can see this is a post request, Squirrelmail srcd direct.php. This is the host, my user agent, and a lot of headers. And at the very bottom, we are having a parameter called login underscore username, and the password is being going into secret key. And this is the complete request. So now what I will do is I will come to my terminal, I will press Q to quit this one, and I will use Hydra. So Hydra -L, and what I will do is, first of all, I will go for, let's go for admin user, so admin, and then I will specify the password list, and the password list which I will use is log1.txt, and then I will do is the IP address of the web server, which is 10.10.10.217, and then this is a login page. Now login pages are most probably called forum pages as well. So, and again, the very strange thing is that this is HTTP. So what we can do is we can say http-post-forum. Most probably post forums are login and sign up pages, and then we need to add double quotations, and in double quotations we need to add three things from burp suite request. The first thing is at the very top, the path of the URL, then a colon. After colon, you need to specify the complete parameters, and after that you need to enter one more colon, and then you need to specify the error message. Now the error message which it was giving in this case is, I forgot. Let's send this request to repeater. Let's send and let's see the response. And in the response, if I scroll down, so the error message which it was giving me, it was unknown user or password. Now what you need to be careful is you don't need to copy the complete error message and paste it in your Hydra request, because it will cause Hydra to give you a lot of false positives. So what I like to do is I like to just copy 3 to 4 words at the very beginning. So let's do unknown user, or let's do password as well. So I will paste this in here, and then I will go for verbosity as well, because I want to see the results as well. And for threading, I always go for 64 threads because I like it very fast, and I think so it is complete. Let's hit enter, and it gives us an error, and it says, okay, so we need to specify this user and this pass as well. Now we need to follow the syntax for Hydra, because it says that where the username is, you need to specify not the username, you need to specify user in upper triangular bracket, so user like this, and in secret key don't specify admin like this, just specify password in upper triangular bracket. So if I hit enter now, I hope it will work, and it does work. Let's see the results. And for the admin user, it was not able to get the password, but that's fine. Let's use the same request, and I also found one more user which was MilesDyson. So I will do MilesDyson here, and if I hit enter, it might be possible that we might find the password for MilesDyson in that list, and we got one password, I think so. And let's wait few seconds. We got another one, and both of them are same, and it says one target successfully completed, 2 valid passwords found. But right now both of them look similar, so I will copy them into my notes. And let's try to log in using this password. So MilesDyson, pasting the password in. I will turn my burp suite intercept off, turn burp suite off from here as well, click on login, and it says unknown user or password. Let's try one more time. MilesDyson, paste the password, login, and now I am successfully logged in. So Hydra did a great job for us, and now I am logged in. So looking at the results, we see we are having 3 emails, but right now this one looks interesting because this subject says Samba password reset. So let's see what it says, and we can see it says we have changed your SMB password after system malfunction, and now the new password is this one. So I will copy this to my notes as well, and let's see where we can use this password as well. So, and this password was from Skynet at Skynet, and I think so this is to MilesDyson user. So, and this is for SMB. So let's come back to SMB again, because I was having no access to MilesDyson, but now I have MilesDyson username. So if I do smbmap-h again for host, then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.217, and now I need to specify the username. So I will do -u, and I will say that please show me those shares which are accessible by user MilesDyson, because I know the user name and password for MilesDyson as well. So I will say MilesDyson here, and then I will specify the password here as well, and the password which I found, this one, pasting the password, and it looks fine. Hit enter, and let's see whether we are having any other share which we can access as user MilesDyson. And now we can see we are having 3 shares. One of them is print dollar, second one is anonymous, and the third one is MilesDyson, which we are having read only access. So what I can do is, now MilesDyson looks really interesting, so I will use SMB client again, and I will see, or let's directly log into MilesDyson. So I will do 2// MilesDyson 1// and I need to specify the IP address here, 10.10.10.217, and it looks fine. Let's hit enter. And right now the strange thing is that it is asking us for the root password, but I don't want to enter root password. I want to enter MilesDyson password. So I will press Ctrl+C, and I think so in SMB client we specify it with a capital U. So capital U, I will specify that please the username is MilesDyson. Hit enter now, and now it is asking us for MilesDyson password. So I will copy the password here, paste it in, hit enter, and now I am logged in. So if I do ls, and it is strange, I am having some PDF files which I am not interested in. There is one directory called notes, so let's go into notes, ls, and again a very huge directory structure. We are having all of the files which are marked down, but there is one strange file which is important.txt. So let's download important.txt, and other ones are not interesting because all of them are same markdown. So I will do get important, and now important.txt file has been downloaded into my current working directory. So if I exit out from here, clear the screen, ls, now we can see important.txt file. So if I cat out important.txt file, we can see it says 3 things. One of them, add features to beta CMS, and it looks like that there is some sort of CMS running on to this directory, because from the / I think so this is some sort of directory. We will see in 1 second. Then it says work on T-800 model 101 blueprint, spend more time with my wife. So the interesting thing is only this one. So I will copy this from here, come to my browser, and I will simply navigate to see whether this is a directory or not. And it looks like that this is a directory. And now again I am on to another web page. There is one image, MilesDyson personal page, and some sort of text. So again, nothing interesting, no sort of some buttons, login page, or any other interesting thing. So let's do Ctrl U to see the page source. Again we are having miles.txt JPEG. Now normally I like to do is I like to download this image and perform strings operation onto this one because that's interesting as well, but I will not do in right now. If I am stuck or I am not going anywhere, so I will come back here and perform strings operation to see something is hidden behind this image or not. So I have done this in my previous videos. You can see this technique from there. Just simply do wget to download this image and perform strings operation on it. But right now nothing interesting here as well. All text and no comments as well, no JavaScript file. So Control W to quit one, and again nothing interesting. So let's move on to directory brute forcing again. So I will copy this one because this one is an other directory. So I will say that whether we are having any strange directory into this directory or strange file. So I will copy this URL, come to my browser again, and again I will use Gobuster or FFUF. So let's use FFUF just for this video because FFUF is a little bit faster than Gobuster. So I will do FFUF -u for URL http 10.10.10 to 17. And again I will do fuzzing here, so I'll specify fuzz for fuzz. The word list which I will use is again users share word list dirbuster and directory list 2.3 medium.txt. Now this is already installed in Kali Linux, so you don't need to install it, so that's fine. Let's move on for extensions, and again let's do extensions of PHP. So if I hit enter, and now it will be a little bit faster than Gobuster. So let's see whether we find anything interesting or not. And we see we are having one directory called admin. So I think so I have done something wrong. If I press Ctrl C, and I forgot to add that directory because it is giving me the same result. So let's come back here. I think so I just copied the URL. So if I remove this one, paste the URL, and this is the place where I want to do fuzzing. So if I hit enter now, this is the correct one. So let's wait for a few minutes and let's see whether it finds something or not. And now after some time I got one directory or one file. Let's see what's in this file, and this is called administrator. So I'll come to my browser again and let's go to administrator. And now I think so I am redirected to again another CMS, and this one is CUPA CMS. So it says use a valid username and password to gain access to administrator. Let's go for default credentials again and follow our methodology, because following the methodology is very important in every sort of situation, whether it is an exam or whether it is you are doing a real world penetration test. So admin, and it does not show me any error message. I think so, yes, it does not show me any error message, but it does not log me in as well. So let's do admin password. Nothing happens. Let's use the password and username which I found for MilesDyson. So coming to my notes, this was the password which I found. Might be possible that I might log in. So MilesDyson, paste the password in, login, and nothing happens again. So if I do one more password which I found, this one, so I will do MilesDyson and this password again. So MilesDyson, this password again which I found from SMB Share, and nothing works. So I think so let's search for exploits again, because whenever I see CMS systems I always go for exploits. So let's go to SearchSploit again, and I think so I should press Ctrl C here because it's not found anything more. So if I do SearchSploit, and let's do CUPA CMS, and we do have one exploit, and again it is an local and remote file inclusion vulnerability, and it says CUPA CMS. We are not having any sort of versions here at well. So let's copy this path and let's do SearchSploit again, and I will do -x to see what is in the exploit. And it looks like that it says CUPA CMS file inclusion, a very outdated exploit which is 4 June 2013. And let's see what this exploit is doing. So if I scroll down, okay, so this is the place where we can exploit it, and there is a local file inclusion vulnerability into a file called alert config field.php, and the parameter which is vulnerable is url config. So let's copy this exploit or url and let's see how we can use this one. So it is going to http target and then CUPA, which is the directory for the CMS, the login page, and then from alerts. And so I will copy it from this part, come back to my here, because this administrator directory is navigating me to CUPA CMS, so that's why I didn't copy CUPA from there. And then I will paste it as it is, and let's see if it works or not. So if I hit enter, and now you can see I am having access to HC password file, so I am having unauthenticated local file inclusion. Now the problem here is that local file inclusion is not interesting vulnerability, because if we need to do a remote code execution or we need to execute any sort of code onto the target system, local file inclusion will never help in this one. So whenever we need to use local file inclusion as a vulnerability, we need to chain this vulnerability with another vulnerability to gain remote code execution. Now the problem is here that I am not having anything interesting onto this machine. So what I will do is, instead of local file inclusion, I always go for remote file inclusion. Now in the exploit description, it also says that there is remote file inclusion vulnerability as well. But normally when you are not having any sort of information, you should always go for remote file inclusion, because the parameter or the parameter which is vulnerable to local file inclusion might be possible that it will be vulnerable to remote file inclusion as well. So if you don't know what is the difference between local file inclusion and remote file inclusion, so local file inclusion means that it will show you and access the local files of the system. But in remote file, what we can do is we can host our malicious file onto our web server and we can call it from this machine which is vulnerable URL. So what I will do first of all is, let's remove this HC password from here, because I know this parameter is vulnerable. So I will remove until here and I will try for local file inclusion. So I will quit this exploit by pressing Q onto the keyboard, and let's create a file called shell.php. And now what I will do is I will go for Python and I will say that please start a web server on port 80. So python -m http, or it is simple http, I think so, simple http server on port 80. And now what I will do is I will simply just call my web server, and if this vulnerable parameter calls my web server, it means that it is vulnerable to remote code execution. So what I will do is I will say that just please call my web server which is running on my local host, and my local IP is, let's quit this one, ifconfig, this one 10.17.41.9. I will start Python web server again and paste the IP here, and let's hit enter. And now if I come back here, you can see I got a hit onto my web server, a get request, and we are having 200 OK as well. And we can see that I am having the directory listing of my Kali Linux machine as well. So attention.txt, logs, nmap scan, shell.php, which I created right now. So what I can do is I can here do a lot of things. I can download a PHP reverse shell from Google as well, payload all the things, or reverse shell cheat sheet. I can go there as well. I can also use the pre-installed PHP reverse shell from Kali Linux as well, but I will not do that one because that's a little bit easy. So what I will do is I will create a file called shell.php. Let's edit that file and let's add a very basic payload in PHP. And what this will do is I will let you know in 1 second. So what I will do is I will add a PHP payload. So I will say PHP, then I will do system. I will call the system function and I will say that please get a parameter called cmd or any parameter you want. So I will say that please get a parameter called cmd. Now the thing which you need to take care of is the double quotations, because sometimes double quotations does not work and sometimes single quotation does not work. So trying different combinations will always work. And then simply add semicolon to end the statement, and I will use question mark and angular bracket to close it. So this is a very simple and easy payload. What it actually is doing is that it is getting a parameter of cmd. So we will supply a parameter of cmd, we will supply any commands to this parameter, and what it will do is it will run it as system. So I will save this one, and now again I will start my Python web server and come back here, and I will call slash shell.php, hit enter, and let's see whether I get a hit here. And I do get a hit here, but right now it will not show me anything. So because it is getting a parameter, so what I need to do is I need to specify a parameter by doing question mark cmd equals to id. Now very important thing which will lead you to a very deep rabbit hole is that if I hit enter, you will see that I am having a call to my web server here, and it says shell.php question mark cmd is equal to id, and this is not what I want. So this is a very dangerous and very strong rabbit hole, because when you are doing these sort of things, yes, that's right, that question mark is for use for parameter, and then whatever is after question mark, that is a parameter, and you supply anything to that parameter. But right now you can see right here we are also having this question mark here as well, and it is also a parameter here. So I think so this get confused. So that's why you don't need to specify question mark here, and you need to specify ampersand here, and now it will work. So if I hit enter now, and now you can see just by doing ampersand sign it does work, and now I am having the output of my id command, and I am www-data. So this is a very important thing that you need to be careful in any sort of certification exam like OSCP or EJPT or ECPPT. And again I got this time a correct call to my web server, which was shell.php, and it executed my id command. So this was a very basic way to get remote code execution. So let's get a reverse shell. Now I can execute commands, so the reverse shell is very easy. Let's move on to payload all the things. And from here I will go to reverse shell cheat sheet, and normally I like to use is Python payload, because Python is extremely important and strong, so it always works for me. So what I will do is I will first of all, let's control C this FFUF here, close this one. Let's open a new terminal, and I will copy the Python payload from here. Paste it in my notes. I need to change my local IP and local port. So the port which I will do is 4444. I like to use 4444. You can use any port you want, 1234, 8888, 9999, anything you want. 53 or 80 does also works as well. So then here I will specify my local IP, which is 1741.9, where the reverse shell will come. And in my another terminal I will start netcat listener nvlp on port 4444. Now if you don't want to use Python payload because it becomes very complex, you can also use another one which is a very simple one, but it does not work most of the time. So you can use netcat -e for execute bin bash. I know it is Windows, so I will do, sorry, I know it is Linux, so I will do bin bash, and then the IP address, which is my local IP 1741.9 on port 4444. Hit enter. Let's come back to terminal, and I did not get any hit onto my netcat session. So that's fine. I think so netcat is not installed onto the target. So let's go to Python as well. So that's why I always go for Python, because Python does work for me. So I will copy this all payload, come back to my browser, paste the payload in, hit enter, come back to the terminal, and now you can see it says connect to 10.17.41.9 from 10.10.10 to 17, and I have a shell. I have an initial foothold. If I type in who am I am www-data. So now I am having initial foothold. I can execute commands. Now this is very easy, because once you have find out that where remote code execution is, you can easily try different payloads like Python, Netcat, Perl, or Bash, or any other payload and get a reverse shell. Now let's move on to initial foothold, in privilege escalation. Now before going to privilege escalation, I will upgrade my shell to fully interactive TTY shell, because you can see it is not giving me a neat look, and I can also not use my shortcut keys like Ctrl C or Ctrl L to clear the screen. So I need a fully interactive TTY shell. So for that I will use Python. So Python-C for command, and the command which I will use is import pty, then pty.spawn, and I will spawn bin bash and hit enter. And now you can see now my shell is a little bit neat, but still I am not able to execute Ctrl L, Ctrl C, because it will quit my session and my session will get expired. So for that, what you need to do is you need to background this, Ctrl Z. Now my session has been backgrounded but not expired. So what I will do is I will do stty raw echo dash echo semicolon and then foreground. Now if you are having a ZSH shell, so you need to do this one. If you are not having a ZSH shell, so you need to use foreground onto the next line. So if I hit enter now and enter one more time, I again back into the shell, and then I need to specify my rows and columns. So I will do stty, my rows are 32, we can see right in my blue color at the top of terminator, and my columns are 127. If I hit enter, and now you can see I am having an error. Okay, so I just misspelled columns. Okay, so now you can see why I did stty rows 32 and columns 127, because right here you can see something strange happened. So my rows and columns are not set, so that's why this my very beginning of my this thing removed from here and gone behind. So that's why I use set my rows and columns. Now it will not happen again. But again, I also like to use to export some variables like terminal, and I will do xterm here, which is my original terminal, and then I will use for colors 256 color, and now everything is fine. So I will do execute bin bash so that my changes should be made. And now if I press Ctrl L, you can see my screen has been cleared. If I press Ctrl C, my session is not expiring, so I have a fully interactive TTY shell. So what I can do is now I can navigate into different directories. First of all, let's see the user flag. So if I go into my home directory, MilesDyson ls, I am having user.txt file, and if I do ls-la, and I can read this file as well. So you can see there is an R here, which means that anyone can read this file. So I have now successfully gained initial foothold. So now what I will do is let's navigate into different directories. But first of all, I will do id to see my groups, my user id, then I do who am I, then I am www-data, then I normally cat out my etc password file to see whether there are any other users. Right now I cannot see any other user except MilesDyson, because he has id of 1001. Normally when you create a user, they are assigned an id after 1000. So if you make one more user, it will be having id of 1002. And again, we can also see the shell as well. So bin bash is only assigned to MilesDyson and no one else. Then I actually like to do is sudo privileges. So sudo -l, and it is asking me for the password. I don't know. So let's Ctrl C. Then I like to find SUID binary. So find in home directory with the permissions of 4000 and pipe it out to dev null so that I don't want to see any sort of errors. So dev null here. And these are all SUID binaries. Now from my experience, I know that there is no strange binary which I can exploit, but what you can do as a beginner, copy this part from here, go to GTF obins, paste this part on GTF obins, and GTF obins will tell you that whether it is vulnerable, whether you can exploit it or not. Now this becomes from experience, this comes from experience at all. So then after all of these sums like sudo -l and suid binaries, after all of these things I navigate into different directories like web server directory, op directory, then in home directory. So in home directory I found that there were three strange things. One of them is backups. Let's see what is in backups. ls, and I can see there are two scripts running, backup.sh and backup.tgz. Now this one is a zip file, and I think so it is being compressed using tar because it is tgz. Tar is also a tool in Kali Linux which is used for compressing different files, so that's why. And we are having a script. So can I get out this backup.sh? I can read this backup.sh and let's see what it is doing. So it is actually using a shebang first, which means that it is a bash script. Then it is going to cd into var www-html, which means that it is going into web server directory, and then in the web server directory it is compressing whatever is in var www-html, and it is making a backup.tgz file in home MilesDyson backups directory. So what it is doing actually is whatever is in web server directory, it is creating a backup of it, it is compressing it, and it is making a backup file in home MilesDyson backup.tgz. So what we can do is, again, we can go to GTF obins and we can say, do we have any exploit for tar? But right now this is a bash script, so might be possible that it might be running again and again. So it is very important that you should look into the cron tab as well. Now I like to use everything manually, so I will not use linpiece in this video. You can use linpiece, just download it from Google, transfer it here using wget and python web server, run linpiece, it will do all of the stuff for you automatically, but you should have knowledge about manual commands as well. So to list the cron tab, what you can do is cat etc cron tab, and now you can see in the cron tab we are having only one entry, and that is this backup.sh file, and it is running as root, and we can see after every minute it is running automatically. Now if you don't know what cron tab means that one thing is running again and again after some period of time. So in this case backup.sh is running as a root user after 1 minute. So this script is running after 1 minute every time. So now I know that this is running as root. So what I can do is I can try to exploit this script. So how I can exploit it? First of all, I will see how tar works and how to exploit this tar. So I will go to Google again. GTF obins is extremely powerful, so I will go to GTF obins. Because tar is a binary, so that's why GTF obins is very useful for binaries. So I will do tar here, and you can see tar is present here. So if I click on tar here, and it also tells us that how we can exploit and gain or escalate privileges to root using tar. So now you can see here he is also using tar -cf, and it will say that if you use this command with tar, you will gain root access. So what it is actually doing is it is again creating a file, and then he is supplying dev null. But the main important thing is that two parameters which tar is getting, it is one of them is --checkpoint equals 1, and the other one is --checkpoint action execute bin sh. So this is the thing which we will use to exploit this vulnerability. Because if I show you this script right here, you can see it is not using those two parameters. One of them is dash dash checkpoint and the other one is checkpoint action. So what we can do is, now you can see it is going into var www html, and whatever is in var www html, it is just compressing it is in backup.tgz. So what we can do to exploit this vulnerability is, we can create two files. One of them will be dash dash checkpoint equals 1, and the other one will be this one, which will be doing some action into var www.html. And if we specify something very malicious into this exec function, it will execute it. Because if we create a file now for tar, it will not be a file in var www.html, it will take it as a parameter. So let me show you how to do that, so you will it will make more sense for you. So if I go into my var www.html ls, so these are the web server directories. We also found all of these using FFUF and Gobuster. This one was not found. So what I will do now is, I will create a file called dash dash checkpoint equals 1. So touch in double quotations dash dash checkpoint equals 1, hit enter, and I got an error. It says touch unrecognized option, so it is not recognizing this option. I think so this can be solved using supplying the full path. So I will say that please make a directory called var make a file called checkpoint equals 1 in var www.html. Will this work? Let's see. If I hit enter, if I do ls, okay, so that's great. Now my dash dash checkpoint equals 1 is the file name. So normally this is a file, but for tar it is not a file, it is a parameter. So when tar will come here, it will look that there are a lot of files, but when it will come to this file, it will say, oh, this is not a file, this is a parameter for me. So it will take it as a parameter. So again, I will use this one as well, and I will remove this from here. But right now, before doing this one, I don't want to execute sh, so I need to gain something interesting to gain root access. So what I will do is, let's paste this in our notes, and I will not execute bin sh because I don't think so it will give me a root access, or it can be, I have never tried it. But the very easy thing is that what we can do is, let's create a malicious file right now here. So what I will do is, I will create a file called, let's do sudo.sh, and what I will do in this file is, I will create a malicious script, and I will say that I am www-data user, so please give all access to www-data user, and when this will run as root, it will give all access to me. So we need to add this rule in sudoers file. So what I will do is echo and double quotations, and I will say that please give access this user, which is www-data all equals to root, and please don't ask this user for password, so no password. And then I will do again colon, and I will say all, and I will say that please add this rule into a file called sudoers. So I will do like this one, sudoers. Okay, so now this rule will be added into the sudoers file, and sudoers file is the file which contains all of the rules. And since this will run as root, so this rule will be added into sudoers file, and I will be able to access everything, so I will easily gain root access. So if I hit now Control O to save, hit enter, Control X to exit, if I do ls, my sudo.sh is present. So now what I will do is, I will come to my terminal, and now I will say that please execute sudo.sh, and now this will be my second checkpoint which is executing something. So now again I will follow the same thing. I will use touch and I will remove this one from here now, and I will add the second checkpoint for tar and hit enter. Will this work? It says cannot touch, no such file or directory. Shall I remove bin from here? Will this work? Hit enter now. Okay, it does work. If I do ls, and now you can see there are two things which are getting executed. One of them will be checkpoint equals 1, and the second one which will be getting executed is this one, which will execute my sudo.sh, and this will be get executed because tar will take it as parameter, not as a file. So let's wait for a few minutes. And if I do sudo-l, now before I did sudo-l, it asked me for the password. Let's do one more time. And now you can see it is giving me a lot of times that I can execute. I don't know why, but our work is done. So if I scroll up, you can see it says now user www-data may run the following commands on Skynet. It says it can run all commands as root user without any password. So what I can do is simply sudo su, hit enter, and now you can see I am root. So this is how we exploit tar and we gain root access. So I can simply go to my root directory and read the flag. We are having root.txt, and in my home directory MilesDyson I am having user.text flag as well. So this was the box. I hope you understand the privilege escalation part. It was a little bit difficult for beginners, but hopefully you will see the video again and again, so you will understand everything. So let's come back to our TryHackMe questions. So the first question was what is Miles' password for his emails, and we found this password from Hydra BruteForce. What was the hidden directory? This was the hidden directory which was found in SMB Share of MilesDyson. Then what is the vulnerability called when you include a remote file for malicious purposes, and it was remote file inclusion. And then below there are two flags, user.text and root.text. So this was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.